summer had been a strange one, never really getting going here in England. But James and I had kicked it off with our usual annual trip to Whitstable, a once sleepy fishing village on the Kent coast, now bursting with tourism and bougie eats. Probably one of the only nice weekends this summer, and one of the only ones I made a record of as a result.
Can't believe how amazing it looks. Oh my god, that's so beautiful. It's such a lovely night. Oh.
We took meandering beach walks with seagulls soaring above, indulged in candlelit suppers at beachside restaurants.
I love these little huts. Like, imagine having one of those and just coming down and like making some hot coffee and sitting out there reading your book.
And gently welcome summer days. Or so we thought. And before long, September was here, and the miserable days made way for that warm late September glow, with a crisp chill in the air and the return of rituals to mark the start of the new season. A fresh set of hops at the Bluestone Villa.
Exciting delivery of cleaning products. I get served tons of ads from Purdy and Fig, and they've really upped their game for the autumn season. They've got like a seasonal subscription, and I bought into the hype and I purchased it. I have been wanting to try kind of a bit more of an eco-friendly cleaning product for quite some time. I think I've been enamoured with both this and Kinfill, and I had kind of looked into a little bit of both and hadn't really made a firm decision, and then this popped up as an ad just as I was boarding a plane back from Spain, and I was like, I'm ready to hit my kind of like autumn mode, so this is going in my shopping basket. So it just turned up. Discover another of life's little joys. Autumn is a season of change and rejuvenation. At Purdy and Fig, we're celebrating the little things that bring energy to every day. 3 limited edition seasonal blends are a wonderful way to welcome autumn into your home, leaving you reinvigorated and ready for whatever the new season has to bring. I couldn't think of anything that's more appropriate right now because I am actually on annual leave. I've been on annual leave for like 2 weeks. The first just over a week I was in Spain, and then for the rest of this week I've been at home, and really the focus has been on just trying to get quite organised. We are in a state of just muddle at all times. We don't have a lot of storage here. We're trying to make storage. We also probably have slightly too many things. There are unfinished rooms still. If you've watched my videos before, none of this will be new information for you. and I really wanted to take the opportunity to have a few more days off of work and try and resolve some of those issues. And I really recommend like using some of your annual leave for that if you can and are able to, because how I am feeling within the home really impacts me on a day-to-day basis, and I have not been running at my most optimum for lots of different reasons, and I just don't think the house situation has been helping. I won't get everything done. I am notoriously a huge procrastinator, so there's way more people that could have done way more than me in this time. I hate tidying and stuff like that, and I find it all very overwhelming, like the sheer volume of things that I put on my to-do list. So yeah, there will be people that are more efficient than me, so it won't get as much done as I would like, but I still do feel like I'm making a positive step in the right direction. And I feel like it's great to do it this time of year because it does feel like a completely new year. Obviously, I think I'm harking back to like school days where it's like a new school year. But yeah, I do feel like autumn's a really good like step change and another opportunity to kind of start again. And I think that's really what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to start again in just so many different ways. And this feels all very dramatic when I'm talking about what cleaning products I've bought. So I think I paid like £18 for this. It was meant to be like £48, I think, or something like that. And you get a Purdy and Fig little cloth that comes with it. And you get the Purdy and Fig glass bottles. I actually have a few glass bottles like this already that are slightly bigger that I got from Amazon, but and then the 3 autumn scents that they've sent are lavender and chamomile, and that they're all counter cleans. Lavender and chamomile. Let's actually smell each of them. Oh, that's a really aromatherapy like. Juniper and cardamom. I imagine this would be a really lovely warming scent. Oh yeah, I'm gonna like that one a lot, I think. And then patchouli and cedarwood. Oh, I have to say, I think the last 2 are much more autumnal, as it were. They're much more like warming scents, but I'm really excited to try these. I don't actually know what you're meant to do. I assume you're meant to like add them to water or something. Oh, I'm gonna make myself a nice cup of tea now and I got myself a little maple pecan yum yum. I'm in a real conflicted moment because I really I'm trying to be a bit healthier as part of my new kind of like trying to just get back on board with things, but I'm also like on annual leave, so it feels like, well, I'm also on holiday and I want to enjoy myself, so
And before long, one of my favourite haunts for this time of year was beckoning me, and I took the windy drive out to Goudhurst for coffee and a basket full of local produce at Taywell's.
from Taywells, which is like one of my favourite places to go, and I haven't been in such a long time, so it was so nice. Just went and sat and had a coffee staring out into the fields. It was lovely, and I went there basically because I haven't been there in ages and I really wanted to go. I just really love how just kind of like what a lovely space it is, the fact that it's a farm shop but it also has this kind of like cafe and you can kind of sit out looking at the fields. It very much reminds me of Vermont in the States, which I've got quite a strong link to and have been going to for a long time, so it's quite nice, especially in the autumn period where it's kind of got that warm glow everywhere. And the weather has actually turned out really nice today, despite the fact that it started off terribly with thunderstorms and torrential rain. And so I basically just went to go and grab my veg for our first Sunday. Yeah, I basically just went to grab veg for my first Sunday roast at the weekend. I picked up one of James's favourites, which is like the iced Belgian bun, and I also got some sausage rolls, which I've already put away in my cloche. And then I got, I've just tipped those out. I got 2 big potatoes to do roast potatoes. Oh, I've torn the bag, that's why. I got a broccoli to do broccoli cheese rather than cauliflower cheese, because quite often I can end up with a situation where you don't have any greenery on your roast dinner plate. So I went with broccoli instead. I got some carrots, partly to roast, but also some to like sit underneath the piece of pork I'm going to get from the butcher's tomorrow to kind of create a gravy. And then additionally with that, I also got a parsnip to do the same with that. And then I got 2 different random things. The first one is this, which was liquid wild garlic. Obviously it's no longer wild garlic season, that's spring. But I loved this. They had lots of different ones like rosemary, thyme, ginger, and so I thought I could have bought them all, but I thought I would just test one first of all, which I thought wild garlic, because obviously it's not in season, would be great to try. And the woman at Taywells told me to use the QR code because it's got recipes on there as well. And then the final thing that I purchased, which is like my spontaneous purchase, something I've never bought before, I don't think, and I'm not even sure if I've ever had them before, but are Kentish cob nuts. So I'm going to try and make something with these, maybe like a cake. I'm looking at a cob nut and plum cake. So I'm wiping down this tray, which you might recognise from my living room. We had this tray on our coffee table and I had like some of my little knickknacks on that, but at the moment it's just been sat on our hearth of our fireplace because we changed our coffee table to like more of like a footstool situation, which we really love. However, we had the intention of putting a tray on it, and I'm just really nervous to put this tray straight on it because I worry about it possibly marking. It's just a really cheap tray from IKEA that we bought before we actually completed on this house, but for this house. It's perfectly fine and served us really well, but I'm just really nervous about that. And actually when I looked at the bottom, it has kind of worn, so yeah, I'm not really too sure. But I have decided I am so sick of sitting just seeing it just sat on our hearth, and it's like I'm not able to like make anything look nice or anything. And you know that I like to, you know, update things seasonally a little bit, and yeah, I haven't really done that this year so much. I think Easter was the last time I did it, and I'm quite embarrassed to say that I still have a few Easter bits and pieces out, like not overtly so, but like I've got like a little bunny, and I had another little like felt bunny thing, and both of those things are still out, and that's not what I want in life. I'm going to put this on the footstool, but what I'm going to do, compromise, I'm going to put it on a like a magazine or something, so that it's not directly on it, and hopefully then we'll be okay and we won't mark it too much. I want to update some of my decor slightly in the house. I don't do too much, I just make a few small changes, and I think it's really nice just to have a bit of a refresh. And I will not be the first person on the internet to have said that. And I'm very aware of that. I usually do this early September, but because we've been away, I haven't yet. I also quite like to do things with, like, I actually don't have particularly loads of like natural stuff, but I tend to like to use kind of quite natural elements as well, rather than actually going out and buying loads of decorations. So I would say that September we veer on the side of autumnal. So I have a few like autumn based decorations that are much more kind of muted in tones and what have you. But then I am a Halloween girly, I'm not gonna lie. So when October comes around, yeah, I do deck the halls with orange and kind of fun Halloween stuff. Yeah, see, look, I've put that on there and it's left like black marks. This is why we don't trust it. Yeah, so I moved to like very Halloween based stuff then. Yeah, look, it's coming off like a black. Don't know what that's about, but it's definitely not what it's my Purdy and Fig stuff I've just knocked over. Yeah, it's definitely not what I want on my nice new footstool. I say new, it's not that new anymore, but it's still within 6 months of owning it. I'm not planning on buying something else. I feel like it's so bizarre. I was so right not to trust the bottom of that. Actually, to be fair, could it be ash from the fireplace possibly? Could possibly be. Yes, the idea is that we'll put this on top of a magazine instead, and then I can decorate that with all of my usual stuff, to be honest. It's very kind of, I have a bit of like a certain look that goes on it, and then yeah, just a few of those bits will be autumnal based more so. Is that gonna be, I'm just still quite nervous. It's not really what I imagined it to look like. Pray for me that this is going to look okay. One of the things that I've got is this, which is I got it in home since last year. It's a lovely little acorn, so that's kind of going to be like the main piece on this tray display. I got this from Sophie Allport, yeah, Sophie Allport last year, and they do them again. They're about £6, so I'm going to use that with the cloche. The cloche needs a clean, just for pretty pleased with this. This is the first time that actually I've styled this up, apart from having 1 or 2 books, and I feel pretty chuffed. The only thing I would say is this room gets a lot of light, so I've been very conscious of that and moving the books around to make sure that it doesn't fade in a funny way. So hopefully that doesn't happen now with this. But in the end, it just didn't look quite right sat on magazines. So I've used our new blanket. So we got this from the Cotswold Company this week, and I've just kind of like layered that over the end, added the tray, and we've got my cloche, which was just from IKEA. I think I paid about £5 or £6.99 for that. I then have my Sophie Allport toadstool, which actually I got for this time of year, but has ended up staying out all year round. I don't know whether I'll do that next year. As I said, I've kind of been a little bit lazy with like updating certain bits and pieces. And I have my acorn from Home Sense, my ceramic acorn. I have my little cowbell, which I actually bought as a Christmas decoration from a vintage store a couple of years ago. But again, I leave it out all year round. But what I do at Christmas is I update it with kind of like a gorgeous kind of lush velvet ribbon. Then I have some coasters and a little kind of dish that, I mean, I suppose it might be kind of like an ashtray or something, that my mother-in-law got me, which is of a hotel in Tunbridge Wells. And then this is a gorgeous little kind of candle type thing. And then I just felt like it was just like missing something. So I've added some of my vintage books. So 2 of these I just picked up from a charity shop a couple of years back now. So I've got British Wildflowers and Enid Blyton's Brer Rabbit's A Rascal. And then I have a dried flower book that I actually took from my grandmother. This is a little, well, it was a candle, but I just put tea lights in them now. I've actually not used these since we moved into this house. I bought these when I bought my first house with my sister. It was a little 2 up, 2 down Victorian cottage, and I got it from H&M. I think they were super cheap, like £1.99, £2.99. And I just brought them with me, and they've sat in a cupboard basically the whole time we've been here, and I actually think it works really, really nicely, and I love it. So I need to pop a little tea light in there. And then my matches as well. These are a gorgeous brand, I forget what they are, but I've got a couple of different versions with like different images on. That's of like a greenhouse, I think. And then I've got a couple of my magazines and my gorgeous book Outside In by Sean Pritchard, who I'm just obsessed with his Instagram and now obsessed with this book. He has just gorgeous floral displays in his home. They're like really wild and chaotic and creative and just have such a flair, and it's very kind of whimsical but kind of also traditional as well. That's probably the best way that I can explain it, and it's definitely what I'm trying to do more so with my floral displays indoors now as well. 'Tis time. This has lasted me a good few years because I don't always remember to spray it, and I burn candles so much more in autumn and winter that actually doesn't get used too much. So even though it's not cheap, it lasts for ages. And again, I like to kind of go a bit seasonal with it. So I've got autumn. I have the Seychelles one, which I absolutely adore, and I use that more for like summer scent. That being said, I bought the most amazing fragrance room scent from a hotel that we stayed at when we were on holiday called Castillo de Monda. It's just about 20 minutes away from Marbella, and it's in a restored castle. And this scent, as soon as you walk in, it just hits you, and I loved it so much that I bought this. It's only 30 mils though, and it was like 25 euros. So I was a bit disappointed about how much you got for the price, but anyway. So I just cut all of these from the front of our house. So these are hydrangea Annabelles, and when it gets into September they go green. Now some of them have already started to fade, I would say, a little bit, so they're not as green as they could have been, but it was because I was away that I basically didn't catch them in time. But I'm wanting to create a massive display on the dining room table, and probably a few others dotted around if I have enough. I still have more I could cut, but I don't want to do I don't want to cut all of them because I think hydrangea heads tend to protect the plant, and I think hydrangea Annabelles are actually a lot more hardy than that, but nonetheless I obviously want to be just a little bit cautious. So yes, I mentioned obviously about Outside In by Sean Pritchard, and I love that his kind of like abundant displays. So the idea is that I want to have my big vase with a load in, and then I'm hoping I might have enough to do some other kind of displays around it, but we'll see. But yeah, these are just gorgeous and I love them. And you basically put in like an inch of water and let it evaporate normally, and they'll dry. They will fade over time, especially if they're in kind of like a sunny position, which they were last year when I did this. And I have heard that if you hang them upside down, that you retain the colour better, but I don't really have anywhere to do that, and you know, I don't want to upset James any more than I need to, so we're doing it the other way. This is like the initial vase that I'm going to use, and I want them to still be quite full even in that. Do we think we need a little bit more water? Maybe a little bit more. Oh. Hopefully that's enough. I love all the leaves on them, but I don't think they actually last as well if you keep all the leaves on them. That's what I've been learning from Willow Crossley in my so I'm going to keep that as it is for now. I might cut some more of these down further. I just kind of want to see. I cut them quite long because I wanted to make sure that I had enough. Ooh, just pulled the thing rather than. I think I want to cut these down a little bit more because I think they're like too long and I want them to be kind of varying in heights and what have you, but I think it would be good to have them more kind of floppy. I've actually cut into some harder wood, and I think hydrangea annabelles aren't as sensitive to that as like regular hydrangeas, but I hope that is the case because I would hate to think that I've just completely ruined my chances of getting any repeat flowers next year. I feel like I've cleaned this kitchen like 8 times today already. What do we think? I feel like that looks too, this one over here. Like I quite like wild, but I feel like this is not the kind of display to be doing wild so much. I think this needs a fraction off. It's like, this isn't a wild display so much. Like I love a wild display, but this is not. I still feel like I need. Thing is, that looks great, but then it's like missing something at the back over here. I'm gonna go again. Ooh. Oh, it's hard work. I think there's something missing in the middle, maybe. Like that looks lovely, but do we think we need something like up here? The challenge is if I do that, I'm gonna have less to do like posy vases with and stuff. I'm gonna get another one. So I really wanted to dot some more around beneath it in my like Roquefort cheese mold vase and stuff, but I don't think, well, I would have enough, but it would mean basically cutting all of my hydrangeas off, and I'm just not sure how that works. I've just knocked all the Purdy and Fig stuff over again. So let's just, I think, let's take it down to there first of all. I think a little bit more, just a fraction more.
And as time crept on in September, our grapevine began its bountiful offering. Pale green grapes turned to the deepest of purple, and I headed out with my trug to cut the first batch to make my grandmother's grape jelly.
like whether it would ward them off. I'm gonna make my grandmother's grape jelly. I don't know how successful this will be because I made this last year and it didn't set properly, so I didn't end up using it. But I have all of these grapes and we won't be able to get through all of them. There's still tons on the grapevine, so yeah, I'm gonna try and make these instead. One reason that I would not be making jam professionally, so with all of these I laid out all of the grapes on our like cream table outside because last year I had so many spiders and what I call cheesy bugs, but I think that's a very local, like a very specific area within Kent that people call them that, but it's like wood lice basically. And it was just, I mean, I just screamed this kitchen down the entire time. So yeah, so that's what I did. And got some baby snails. I don't know if you can focus. I've just found this one and I've just found another one. So I'm just slightly concerned now that there might be more. I have 2 baby snails. So these are 2 pounds of the grapes and I'm now going to stew these with half a cup of water. That's what my nan's recipe says. She actually says that they should be cooked once they've been peeled and everything, but I mean I've got no time for that and they'll be strained anyway before it then goes into another pan again to cook with sugar. I've actually got an image of my nan's recipe. My sister's actually got the recipe at her house. I don't think it's actually the full recipe, but you can kind of gather it's all of the ingredients and like a very summarized version, but there's some instructions above it that I think maybe there's some more detailed instructions on the other side, but it's fine. This will be my 3rd attempt at making grape jelly, or my nan's grape jelly, and yeah, the first time I overcooked it, so it just went rock solid, ruined a couple of jars, had to chuck those. And last year I was so paranoid about that, I bought a proper like thermometer and it should have been at the right temperature, but it didn't set properly. So it was undercooked last year and I couldn't use that either. So 3rd time's a charm, hey? So I've cooked 2 pounds of grapes in half a cup of water. I've now strained them and it should yield approximately one pint of juice, and then that 1 pint of juice, one pint of juice you're going to put in with 1 1/4 pounds of sugar, and you're going to boil and cook that into jam, and that should yield, she says 3.5 jars, which is fantastic because I've just washed 8. Nan, I hope you're watching down on me and knowing that I'm trying to keep the memory alive. On the button.
It really was third time's a charm for the grape jelly. And as the weekend rumbled on, once again we marked the beginning of this new season with our first Sunday roast. A staple in the colder months in England, picking herbs from the garden and making homemade apple sauce with apples from the apple tree.
I'm not sure I've ever had a Kentish cobnut before.
We marked the occasion with a roast porchetta and all the trimmings to finally welcome autumn.
Sorry, dude.